This is CNN Breaking News.
We have breaking news to CNN. A source tells CNN that Trump ally and the founder of Turning Points USA, Charlie Kirk, was shot at an event on a college campus in Utah.
And the extent of Kirk's injuries at this point are not immediately clear. Let's talk now with CNN's Kristen Holmes. We have CNN political director David Chalian with us as well. Kristen, what can you tell us?
Brianna and Boris, I want to be very clear. I cannot tell you that much right now because this is a very fluid situation. People are still trying to figure out the details, the extent of the injury, and what exactly unfolded on that Utah campus. As we have reported, Charlie Kirk is a close ally of President Trump's. Not only that, he is somebody who helped him get elected this cycle. He is often seen here at the White House. He runs Turning Point USA, which is a youth organization where he's tried to galvanize thousands of voters, Republican voters. He's also a controversial figure at times. He goes into these various college campuses, pushes conservative issues, gets into heated back and forth often with these students on these college campuses. But of course, none of that is violent. This is the first time we've seen this kind of reaction, obviously. So what we know right now, everyone is monitoring the situation. He was shot during this event on this Utah campus, and they are still unclear what exactly the extent of those injuries is. There are a lot of videos circulating right now on social media that are showing the crowds running away after gunshots went off. But again, we are still going through all of this and talking to sources to figure out what exactly happened and how Kirk is doing at this time.
Kristen, please stand by. David, as we work to confirm some of these videos that are circulating online and we try to get an awareness of the status of Kirk's health, it's important to step back and point out the impact that he's had in recent years on politics and certainly conservative politics. He's turned this sort of grassroots organization, Turning Points USA, into a juggernaut when it comes to connecting youth conservatives and the conservative agenda on college campuses.
Without a doubt. I mean, first, let me say my prayers are with Charlie Kirk right now, and I'm sure everybody watching feels the same. This is horrific to see what we're seeing here. You couldn't be more spot on, Boris. I can't sort of understate what Charlie Kirk has done inside the Republican Party as a force, especially around mobilizing younger voters. That's sort of how TPUSA first got its movement. But he is a talk radio host on conservative radio. He's the organizer of this group, does a ton of speaking publicly around the country. You can't go to any kind of sort of big convening of Republicans, and he is not a force there with an enormous following. In fact, I was looking on social media, on Twitter, at 2:24, so not even 30 minutes ago, 29 minutes ago, he had posted images of himself before this huge crowd at Utah Valley University there outside of Provo. And he said, "We're so back." You could see there was enthusiasm. He was passing hats around. You can watch him on video. This was posted half an hour ago of him doing that and greeting this crowd. He is somebody that the Trump campaign, as Kristen was noting, utilized very effectively to harness his leadership in this conservative activist movement, again, with young people, young men specifically. We've talked about this a lot when we look back. Charlie Kirk is at the heart of that effort. They relied on him and his organization a lot for their ground game in a lot of the states around the country. And so this is somebody who obviously has a huge voice inside conservative American politics, a big Trump supporter, but obviously now in this really unfortunate, horrific experience is going to be at the center of a conversation about political violence, I would imagine, that we're going to be having in the aftermath of this horrific event.
Oh, certainly. And there's a lot of reason to be concerned right now as we do not know his status. We don't know how he's doing, and we're awaiting word certainly of that. As you mentioned, it says a lot about where we are as a nation when it comes to violence and politics. Can you talk a little bit about what he was doing in Utah? He was going to universities to speak to young people.
Yeah, and organizing them. And again, that's why I was literally, you can just bring it up from his Twitter page a little while ago. You can see it's not just like sometimes you might go to an event at a college campus and it's a smattering of people. And that is not what Charlie Kirk brings. He has a following and an energy around him with young people. And so, yes, he is on college campuses quite often all around the country doing this kind of political organizing, in addition to his sort of speaking at places like CPAC or other big events. He is big on college campuses. And as I was saying, the Trump campaign has harnessed him into his network of followers in terms of their ground game operation in this last campaign. It was fundamental to their success.
And to that point, he spoke at the RNC in 2024, and we just saw a tweet put out by J.D. Vance, the vice president, saying, quote, "Say a prayer for Charlie Kirk, a genuinely good guy and a young father." I believe that we're joined now by CNN senior law enforcement analyst Charles Ramsey. And actually, before we get to Chief Ramsey, here's a post from FBI Director Kash Patel. "We're closely monitoring reports of the tragic shooting involving Charlie Kirk at Utah Valley University. Our thoughts are with Charlie, his loved ones, and everyone affected. Agents will be on the scene quickly, and the FBI stands in full support of the ongoing response and investigation." Chief Ramsey, I wonder if you can paint for us a picture of what an investigation like this, one, as you just saw there from the FBI director, to which agents are just responding on a college campus at an event where it appears that Kirk was surrounded by a multitude of attendants.
Well, obviously, there's a lot we don't know yet. This just occurred, but they would do everything they can to contain the scene. The shooter may very well be someone who is being held by other members in the crowd. We don't know that. Hopefully, his injuries are not too severe. So I'm certainly hoping that that's the case. But right now, it's a case where they're going to bring in resources to do what they can. It was a large gathering on a college campus. So no doubt you have a lot of witnesses that need to be interviewed, but you have a crime scene now. And that crime scene has to be protected. That crime scene has to be processed. So all the things that you would typically do in any shooting incident, you would be doing right now. He's a very high profile individual, so it's certainly going to draw a lot of attention.
And Chief, can you talk a little bit about what security would be like at an event like this on a college campus? I mean, he's not a politician, right? But he's someone who is so adjacent to some of the biggest names here in Washington. And we have seen this uptick in political violence. What would security be like, would you expect?
Well, he's not an elected official, and unless there were direct threats made to him, security would be there. But on a college campus with a large crowd, very difficult, and people would not be screened before they went to the event. So I'm sure there was not only university police, but probably from their county sheriff or local police that were present on the scene. But when you have a large gathering like that, and again, he's a controversial and high profile individual, but he would not get the same kind of screening that a president would get, a vice president would get, or some other elected official. So again, I haven't seen the scene, so it's very difficult to kind of assess. But I would imagine, and obviously someone was able to get close enough with a gun, and whether it was a rifle, was it a handgun, what's the distance? I mean, there are just a lot of unanswered questions right now.
It's also notable that he hosts, as part of many of the events that he has, these debates with folks that come, college students and others who come as part of a crowd, and he hosts debates with them at close proximity. We don't know that that's exactly what happened here, but it is notable given what you were just describing, Chief Ramsey, as the setting for these events. We also have a statement put out by California Governor Gavin Newsom now, who interviewed Kirk on his podcast back in March of this year. He says the attack on Charlie Kirk is disgusting, vile, and reprehensible. In the United States of America, we must reject political violence in every form. Let's go back to the White House now and Kristen Holmes, because it's notable, as we just said, he's been interviewed by Democrats and Republicans. The weight that he carries and his voice within the conservative movement, especially among young people, he's someone who at times has had the president's ear as well.
Not just had the president's ear at times. I mean, he is incredibly close with President Trump. They speak directly. He also is close with members, high-level members of the administration. You see the vice president tweeting there. He knows and speaks to Charlie Kirk. If you are talking to people within the administration, they will tell you that Kirk is somebody who has the finger on the pulse of the MAGA movement in a way that sometimes even the people in Washington do not.